Last month, HR Darling and fellow author Winifred Summer provided us a really awesome review of the book The E-Myth Revisited by Michael E. Gerber. This month, I have returning author J. Brice Odom bringing you new book recommendations. Please join me in welcoming him back to the show.
Hey, Garrett, thanks for having me back on to do this top 10 list. And, you didn't give me a ton of guidance, so I decided what my top 10 list would be over a group of writers who have been incredibly influential on me, and that is the Inklings. So this here is my top 10 Inklings books. And coming in at number 10 is C.S. Lewis's The Horse and His Boy. If you've read Narnia, this is kind of one of the middle book of it, but I think it is the best written book from beginning to end of the whole series. It may not be the most iconic, but I think it is absolutely solid from beginning to end. And there is the scene of Aslan walking with our main character on the mountainside in the fog, and that scene has stuck with me ever since I read the book so many years ago. Coming in next is also C.S. Lewis, because C.S. Lewis is going to be a lot on this list. But The Great Divorce by C.S. Lewis, I think this is fine. Of his three Christian apologetic novels that are just straight Christian apology novels, I think is his best one. It may be short, but I think it is clear and imaginative, and I think it also probably deals with some issues that Lewis wasn't intending to do, but about a group of folks from hell who get the chance to go to a day trip in heaven, and it's a fascinating allegory. But finally, our first one, not by C.S. Lewis, and no shock, it will be by J.R.R. Tolkien. And that is his story, Leaf by Niggle, probably the only true allegory book or story that Tolkien created. Back to C.S. Lewis, and that is Perelandra. Lewis is most famous for both his Christian apology novels, but of course, the Narnia books. But he also wrote a trilogy of science fiction books, and the middle book is the best. Basically a reimagining of Garden of Eden on the planet Venus, because it's sci-fi. And our main character gets to punch Satan in the face, so what is more fun than that? And number 6 will be probably the writer y'all would be least familiar with, or at least one of the two you're least familiar with, and that is a guy named Charles Williams in his novel Descent into Hell. Williams in his life was probably most famous for a series of books that were labeled spiritual thrillers. Most of them seem to take on cosmic stakes by the end of the book, but this one did not. It is events happening in a small English village, and yes, the stakes are still very high, but it is because it's about individual souls. And number 5 is maybe one of the all-time classics, The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. The only reason this is not higher on the list is because, well, there's one book that makes it look so much smaller because Tolkien did so much more with it. Obviously, the great tale of Bilbo and joining Thorin's company to go get treasure back from a dragon, but of course, that's not really the end of the book either. Number 4, also another Inkling that you might not be as familiar with, but I think this is one of the finest novels an Inkling wrote. And also, if for nothing else, is extremely experimental in how it tells the story, but is This Ever Diverse Pair by Owen Barfield. Like Tolkien, Barfield sometimes struggled with what it meant to be an artist, except Barfield was in a lot of ways forced to give up his dream of being a writer for an extended period of time in his life. But he wrote this novel essentially to stave off a nervous breakdown. So if you are an artist who deals with the day in, day out of life and don't know, and you feel the pull of adult life and art and being an artist, this book will speak to you. And coming at number 3, one of the most ambitious books by an Inkling, we're going back to Charles Williams, and that is his poetic cycle on King Arthur, Taliesin through Logos, with its companion piece, Region of the Summer Stars. Only book in the Inklings that rivals Tolkien in world building is this Arthurian creation. And then number 2, probably there are probably 3 books on here that are uber iconic in not just nerd culture, but mainstream culture. And The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe by C.S. Lewis. As I said, I think The Horse and His Boy is the best structured book, best written book from beginning to end, but there is just nothing within Narnia that beats the just incredible imagery that is Aslan with the table in the toward the end of the book, but also the beginning of the book. And that brings us to our number one, Lord of the Rings. No more influential book was written by any Inkling. It is one of the most influential single reads I've ever had in my life, was this trilogy of books, or as Tolkien would have said, just this one novel. But from Fellowship of the Rings, Two Towers, Return of the King, it is just a story on such an epic scale with deep meaning as you go through the book. There's my top 10 best Inklings books of all time, at least according to J. Brice Odom. So, Garrett, thanks for having me on to do this for you. Have a great day and have a happy new year, y'all.